youth, I love our children, I love our community. I love our mothers, I love our fathers, I love our educators. Can you please clap it up for yourselves? To start on with the apples for the journey, I guess it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission, because I had to bring some food into the media room in order to have this illustration. All right. Just by looking at it, what is this? Piece of an apple, right? It's an apple. All right, can we all agree with that, right? Okay. Now, over here, can you tell me what you see, or if you can't see it, what does that look like? Apple seed, right? And that's exactly what it is. It's a seed. And if I could use as a topic for this morning, you can count the seeds in an apple, but you can't count the apples in a seed. Within our youth is unlocked potential. When we look at educators and education, one of the root words, aduku, it doesn't just mean to make a deposit. It also means to make an extraction. So not only will you be putting information into our babies throughout the course of this year, but I want to challenge you to pull some information out of it. Okay? Just a quick affirmation, if you all will participate with me and touch your mind and repeat after me. The most powerful nation.
The most powerful nation
Is my imagination.
is my imagination.
And my imagination.
My imagination
Is shaped by information.
is shaped by information.
Can we clap it up one time? Yes, please. Just a quick backdrop. A lot of the students that live in this community, they look like me, they talk like me. Maybe not the same vocabulary and vernacular, but they talk like me. Their situations, their home life is very similar to mine as well. My biological father spent most of my life in prison in Attica, New York. My mother struggled with substance abuse. So I'm sharing that with you because regardless of the dynamics of the home life, I remember my 5th grade teacher. Do we have any 5th grade teachers in here? Oh, I gotta clap it up for you. So what's your name?
Taylor.
Mrs. Taylor and
Boykins.
Mrs. Boykins. Miss Tona Penland was my 5th grade teacher. She saw a little black boy that couldn't read. She called my mother in and told her, listen, I can't pass your son. He's not ready to get promoted. He's not reading on grade level. So I started breaking down crying. I'm like, oh my God, I am not about to fail. I can't do this. So this is what I told Mrs. Penland. Mrs. Penland, I can't fail. She says, but Sean, you're not ready. I said, well, Mrs. Penland, you said where there's a will, there's a way. Whatever it takes, Miss Penland, I gotta get promoted. Mrs. Penland gave me extra time after school to go through my reading, help me build my vocabulary, help me build my comprehension, help me build my understanding. Lo and behold, 15 years later, I was at a college called Edward Waters College. I took a degree major in elementary education. One of the last classes for me to graduate from college as senior class president was student teaching. And Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Richie Graham, the student doesn't choose what subject they teach when they get, admitted into a school for student teaching. So the school was S.P. Livingston. The grade was 5th, and the subject was reading. So in order for me to graduate, I had to prove that I could teach something that I once struggled with. And I got to tell everybody my story at graduation because I was the senior class president. Can y'all clap it up for me one time? I'm just sharing that with you because those are those seeds of unlocked potential. Lo and behold, at 26, I was promoted to campus president for Strayer University. They told me you need to have a master's degree for this. I was still working on it at the time, but my performance was so superior that they promoted me anyways. So I'm sharing this with you. Do we have any first-year teachers? Any first-year teachers? We only got one first-year teacher. What's your name?
Sarah France.
Mrs. France. Can we clap it up for Mrs. France one time? That means you got a first-year teacher. You got her experience, you got her experience, you got his experience. You're in a very safe place. What's that now?
I got EWC's experience.
You got EWC, E-Dub? Oh, no one.
No, you ain't E-Dub.
You supposed to say you know.
Oh.
Let's try this again. E-Dub?
You know?
All right, all three of us. But moving right along, the first thing I want to share with you is pressure does not make diamonds. Pressure reveals it. The diamond is already in there. But it takes the pressure to reveal what's already on the inside. And as educators, that's what you're going to be doing with our babies. You're going to help reveal how great they really are. Because a lot of them don't. Especially when it comes to self-image, when it comes to self-esteem, when it comes to self-worth. But when you put the right pressure in the right place, it's going to reveal some very beautiful things about our babies. And they're never going to forget you. They're going to be like Deshaun Nix. Oh, I remember my first grade teacher. She believed in me. He believed in me. I remember my second grade teacher. I remember my third. You will be that teacher that child will never forget. Man, I'm so glad that she was on me about my homework, but then she'll always, and I want to share this with you too because it goes into my next point. As educators, we understand that you don't always get the proper praise that you deserve. I've been there. I understand. But one of the things that I do want to encourage you on is to prefix and not suffix. All right? You got prefixes, you got suffixes, you got root words, right? Prefix means you fix it at the beginning. Suffix means you fix it at the end. Typically, if we are going to make sure that every child achieves more, we want to make sure that every child accelerates higher and does better, what happens is that we need to do at the beginning what we shouldn't have to do at the end. So with the prefixing, typically you have to praise somebody 5 times before you can correct them once. Okay? So make sure you keep that in the back of your mind. And then even when it comes to parental contact, you got to praise that baby at least 5 times. And please don't let that first interaction be the first interaction to correct the child. All right? Because once again, we still got to build the community self-esteem, right? We still got to build that family because we want that child to be successful, not just here, but throughout the rest of their life. Brentwood is a great training ground, all right? And you're in the right place at the right time. And I got a little preacher in me too, all right? So number 1, pressure doesn't make diamonds, it reveals them. Number 2, we got a prefix and not suffix. Meaning that Mrs. Jones, she had an audible just in case something didn't fall through. And it's the same thing with your classroom. You need audibles. One of the things that made Peyton Manning a great quarterback, he can look at the defense. He's already standing there waiting to snap the ball. He's already called the play in the huddle. But when he looks at the defense, he's like, hold up, they ain't ready for this. They ain't ready for this. They're not ready for this. Blue, check over, check over. And what that means is we were going one way, now we're going to go another way. But he's got 11 players, he's got 10 other players on his team that they trust the quarterback. They trust the quarterback that they were ready to run one play. But because the quarterback said check over, it's the same thing. We're just going to do it another way. Ain't nobody saying, hold up, Payne. We ain't about to switch it right now. You just call it the play, now you change it to, but when you condition that and you prefix it, it makes it so much easier in the classroom. Every now and again, Mr. Nix is going to call an audible. Well, I don't know what an audible means. An audible means that, listen, this is the play that we designed. This is the play that we put on, that we were going to work on the board. But this problem right here is what we need. This is what we got to execute. And I need you to trust me that I got your best interests at heart. Y'all going to ride with me for a little bit? All right? Number 3. This is another affirmation. If you would, please say it with me. Excel is the movement.
Excel is the movement.
And excellent is the destination.
Excellent is the destination.
I need you to feel it in your soul. Excel is the movement.
Excel is the movement.
And excellent is the destination.
And excellent is the destination.
One more time. Excel is the movement.
Excel is the movement.
And excellent is the destination.
And excellent is the destination.
Can we clap it up one time? All right. Because sometimes when it comes to our babies and our children, they feel that just because they're not failing, that they're doing great. All right? Just because they're not failing, well, hey, I ain't failing. So what happens is we got to identify what is excellent. All right? So excellent has to be the A. We can't let them think that excellent is a C. We can't let them think that excellent is a B. See, all right, I'm going to get there in a little bit, but I want to be one of those people that when scores come out next year and they say Brentwood made an A, I want to be one of those folks that say, I'm not surprised. I want to be one of those, I'm not surprised. Because excel is the movement and excellent is the destination. And we prefixing, we ain't suffixing. We already let them know every now and then we got to call some audibles because this has got your, we want you to be great. Your community is counting on you to be great. Your mama is counting on you to be great. Your dad is counting on you to be great. Your elders, your grandparents are picking you up and dropping you off and making sure that you got, we count on you to be great. All right? And one of the things that I've learned, especially when you have a competitive field, average is the enemy to advancement. Average is the enemy to advancement. It is going to be impossible for us to advance if all we're focused on is being average. And I don't believe my God made anybody average. I don't believe that. I don't believe he made anybody average. Now, some people choose to believe that. I don't believe it. I refuse to believe it. When they told me at EWC, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. All right. All right. What point am I now? Number 4? It's number 4, right? In every journey, there needs to be a pit stop. And when you start talking about these apples, right? All right, you got to take a pit stop, right? But I want to challenge you, okay? You know how you got to have lesson plans, right? Amen, somebody. Oh yeah, we got to have lesson plans, right? Okay. All right, so we got to have lesson plans. And it has to be detailed, right? And you got to have expectations, right? With your pit stops and your breaks. I want to challenge you to make them detailed. What's your name again? Ms. Tomko. Ms. Tomko. For example, what works for you may not work for her, right? But during your breaks, you need to know what works for you to help you recoup. Meaning that we expect you to come to work at a 10, and we want you to leave on a 10. We want you, because we don't want you coming back in January talking about, this ain't going to work for me. We want you to start at a 10. We want you to end at a 10. But if you don't have a detailed break as to what works for you to help you refresh or self-care, what are your motivational videos? What are your motivational quotes? What are your motivational scriptures? What helps you recoup? Is it time alone? Is it time with family? When I need you to call mama, tell mama you need her to make that deposit. It has to be detailed because, once again, you may get thrown some curveballs and you got to have a structured break in there to where you know exactly what it takes for you to recoup. We want you revived because, once again, dead people can't revive dead people. All right? Number 5. If you would please say this with me. Standards,
Standards.
steer,
Steer.
students,
Students.
straight.
Straight.
One more time. Standards,
Standards.
steer,
Steer.
students,
Students.
straight.
Straight.
If we want our students to walk straight, talk straight, and to go in a specific direction, we gotta make sure that they know the standards. Right? And whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Whatever you repeat, you reinforce. Whatever you repeat,
You reinforce.
thank you so much. And one of the best ways to know student mastery is when the student is able to teach the content with competence. One way to know whether or not do we have student mastery, okay, are you able to teach the content with competence? And I believe that you all are so great that every child that comes to your classroom should be able to demonstrate student mastery. Meaning that they can teach other students the content with competence. Now granted, it may not start like that, but I guarantee if you give it 45 strong days, that those next 3-9 weeks are going to be a breeze if you push it the first 45 days. Those first 45 days, it's got to be, everything has got routine and rituals. Everything has got to be rock solid. Now, I know this is going to sound real corny, but you also got to have a song in your classroom. I know this is corny, but if you ever want classroom control real quick, you need to have a song in your mind. They need to know the song and bring them right back. If all of the raindrops were lemon drops and gumdrops, oh, what a rain that would be. Standing outside with your mouth open wide. Y'all want to do like that? You know that one? Alright. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout.
Down came the rain
And
washed the spider out.
Then
Out came the sun
And
dried up all the rain.
And
the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
what about this one? Roll, roll, roll your boat.
Gently down the stream. There's a merry, 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 like the bird.
Listen to me, you've got to have a song in your class. These children are musically inclined. But if they know that, listen, it's okay to make noise as long as you are the composer. As long as you're the composer, it's all right to make noise. It's all right. But once again, but with that song, trust me, you're going to bring them back in, and then you can move forward. But once again, that's a part of your rituals and routines. I would encourage you to teach your class one song so that whenever you start it, they all have to join in. And if they're talking to somebody else, they can't complete that dialogue because everybody else is singing the same song. Because we all going in the same direction. All right? And I'm going to close with this. Clearly described goals yield clearly defined gains. Clearly described goals yield clearly defined gains. I'll say that again. Clearly described goals yield clearly defined gains. Can somebody help me out and let me know what do you get from that? What do you take away from that? What's that?
To let the children know where they're going.
Ms. Leffert?
Let the children know how they're progressing.
That they're progressing. Okay? All right, anybody else? Clearly described goals yield clearly defined gains.
If you know exactly where you want to go, then you know exactly what you're going to get from it.
If you know where you're going, and that, trust me, listen to me. Harriet Tubman would not have been able to free over 300 slaves if she did not know which way was north. Frederick Douglass, a guy who was never in any formal education, would not have been a leader when it came to the abolition movement if he didn't know what freedom meant. Everybody wants to feel success. Everybody wants to feel great. Nobody wants to feel average. Nobody wants to feel, well, we're right there in the middle. I'm not too great, but I'm not bad either. No. We're excellent. We strive for excellence. Our standards are high. We got the highest standards in Duval. Hey, hello? we got the highest standards in Duval. We got the greatest team in Duval.
Yes.
We got the greatest teachers in Duval. We got the greatest educators in Duval. And when our babies come here, they will excel like they could not excel in any other school because we set the standard straight.
Come on now, right?
Can somebody say, excel is the movement,
Excel is the movement.
and excellent is the destination.
Excellent is the destination.
My name is Nashawn Nix. Thank you for listening.